So here I am looking for how many hot dogs and how many sodas were sold at a certain event. At the end of the night, you made a total of $78.50. 1.5 H plus 0.5 S. 78.50. How did I get that? Okay, so 1.5 H, that means that for each hot dog that I sell, I get $1.5. So if I sell 3 hot dogs, then I get $4.50. This means that I get that much money, 50 cents, for each soda I sell. And based on the number of hot dogs and the number of sodas that at their respective prices, I was able to earn $78.50. Now my second equation is going to be this. So the other piece of information that I have, you sold a total of 87 hot dogs and sodas combined. So I know that my second equation is going to be H plus S equals 87. How did I get that? Okay, so I know that H represents the number of hot dogs I sell, S represents the number of sodas, and so the total number of hot dogs, H, plus the total number of sodas, I know is my 87 hot dogs and sodas that I sold combined. So that's where that came from. Now we want to know how many hot dogs were sold and how many sodas were sold. So now we'll solve this system of equations. First step, we need to decide the variable that I want to get rid of. And here, it's going to be easiest for me to get rid of my S's. So here I have 1 S, here I have 0.5 S's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this first equation. I want this to be a negative 1x so that it can cancel with this. So I'm going to multiply this equation by negative 2. In other words, I'm going to rewrite this equation, rewrite in this red stuff, and I'm going to multiply everything by negative. Negative 2 times 1.5 H will give me negative 3, plus negative 2 times 0.5 will give me negative 1S, and negative 2 times 78.5, negative 157. And you guys can use the calculator on your computer, or you can use a Google calculator. It doesn't matter. When we're working with decimals, feel free to use a calculator. So now what I'm going to do is take my red equation, write it underneath. My blue equation, this guy, and write it underneath. And now I'll just add up my equations. So over here, I'm going to get negative 2H. Plus, my S's will cancel at 0. And then negative 157 plus 87 is going to give me negative 70. So negative 2H equals negative 70. I'll divide both sides by negative 2. And I'll get H equals positive 35. Therefore, I know that the number of hot dogs I sold is 35. Now, how can I find the number of sodas that I sold? I'm going to find the number of sodas that I sold by picking one of my original equations and substituting the number of hot dogs. H plus S equals 87. Take out the H, put in a 35 plus S equals 87. And then I'm going to get rid of my 35 by adding negative 35 to each side. And I'm going to be left with S, which is my number of sodas, is equal to positive 52. And that's my final answer. See if you can come up with the first equation on your own. Okay, so my two variables, children, I'm going to abbreviate with a C, and adults I'll abbreviate with an A. My first equation tells me, or first I'm going to look at, when I read my problem, it says the admission is $1.50 for children and $4 for adults. So I'm dealing with dollars. I'm going to look for some, if the problem gives me a dollar amount. And it does. It tells me that $5,050 is collected one night. So I know that I got that $5,050 by the number of I got $1.50 from each kid that came, and I got $4 for every adult. That would be my first equation. Try to find the info for the second equation. For my second equation, I know that 2,200 people entered the fair. So in total, the number of people was 2,200. And I know that I have to use the same variables that I used up here. I need to use A and C, and I know that that makes sense because if I have the only people that can enter the fair are children and adults, so the number of children plus the number of adults needs to equal to the number of the total number of people, 2,200 that entered the fair. Those are my two equations. Figure out those numbers. So to figure out the numbers, I'm going to use elimination here because both of my equations are in standard form, and I'm going to do that by looking at which variable is going to be easiest to eliminate. And really, either of these. I'll eliminate the A's. And so if this is 4A, this is 1A. I want this 1A. I want that to be a negative 4A. And that's my goal, is for it to be a negative 4A. So I need to multiply it by negative 4. So I'll rewrite my blue equation. C plus 1A equals 2,200. And I'm going to multiply every single term, every single side of that equation by negative 4. Now what I'm going to do is just distribute. So this will get me negative 4C plus negative 4 times 1A will get me negative 4A. And 2,200 times negative 4 is going to get me negative 8,800. And now I have my new second equation. I'm just going to write my red equation underneath. And now I'm just going to add. So when I add up these, this will give me negative 2.5C plus 0 equals negative 800 plus 5,050 is going to give me negative 3,750. So negative 2C, I'm sorry, negative 2.5C negative 2.5C is equal to negative 3750. Then I'm going to divide both by negative 2.5, and you can do this in your calculator. And I'll get that C, the number of children, is equal to positive, because my negatives cancel, positive 1,500. Now I'll need to find the number of adults. I'll use my blue equation to find the number of adults. I could use the red, but I'm going to use blue because it'll be a little bit easier. My blue equation is C plus 1A equals 2200. So I know that C I'm going to substitute, and I'll have 1500 plus 1A equals 2200. And then I will solve for A. And what I'm going to do is add negative 1500 to both sides. Cancel, cancel. 1A equals 700. And that is my final answer. And I can check that by seeing how much money that would make me. So one adult, that would mean that 4 times my 700 adults and $1.50 times my 1,500 children should equal 5,050. So let's see. 1.5 times 1,500 is going to give me 2,250, and 4 times 700 is going to give me 2,800. And when I add those together, I'm going to get 5,050. Try this one. Okay, so here my first equation is going to be, it says that it's inhabited only by merples and erples, containing 82 creatures. So my first equation, merples and erples, contains 82 creatures. And it's only inhabited by those two. So I know that the number of merples plus the number of erples is going to be equal to 82. Then, my second equation, merples are 2-legged animals, while an erpele has 4 legs. If the forest contains a total of 234 legs, how many merples and how many erples live in the forest? Well, merples have 2 legs, so that means for every merpele, 2 legs were contributed. And erples have 4 legs, so for every erpele, 4 legs were contributed. And after I found out all of my number of merples and erples, I ended up with 234 legs. So those are my 2 equations. Now let's solve this by elimination. I'm going to eliminate the m's. To get this m to eliminate with those m's, I'm going to multiply this by negative 2. So rewrite and multiply both sides of the equation by negative 2. So here, I'll get negative 2m plus negative 2e equals negative 164. Now I'm going to rewrite my blue equation underneath. And now I'm going to add both together. My m's will cancel. And I'll get 2e equals negative 164 plus 243 is going to give me 70. So I'll get 2e equals 70. I'll divide both by 2, and I'll get e equals 35. So the number of Earpleys is 35. I know the number of Merpleys plus the number of Earpleys is equal to 82 based on this equation. So to find the number of Merpleys, I'm going to substitute 35, the number of Earpleys, for e. And I'm going to just solve for m. First, I'll add negative 35. Oops. Add negative 35 to each side. And that will get me, cross m equals 47. And that's it.